Welcome to Bridge the Atlantic. We are your hosts, music web designer Ross Barber.
And musician, filmmaker Marcin Novelli.
This week we're welcoming Toronto-based jazz vocalist, songwriter and musician Luke Maxim to the show. Luke is a graduate of the prestigious Humber College Jazz program, and he's performed at some of the hottest jazz clubs in Toronto, including the Rex, Lula Lounge, Reservoir Lounge. His new album Stay is due for release in late 2015. So welcome to the show, Luke.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
How's it going?
Over Skype. Yeah. It's going well. Yeah. Everything's good. I'm actually not at home. I'm using my cousin's home because I need to get a new laptop. I still haven't done that. So I'm borrowing theirs. So I'm surrounded by many pets and cats and dogs. It's like a bit of a
so you have a captive
here.
Audience.
I do, yes. There was, I'm sure the
just heard a meow.
dog going to join me a little later.
I think a meow I just heard. Mm-hmm. Very awesome. I'm just gonna let our guests know that I'm sick today. So I'm gonna, if I sound all groggy and bleh, like I zone right now, I apologize in advance. Or you know what? I'm sorry, not sorry. So
sorry, not sorry. It's
sorry, not sorry. It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you know what, Marcio? You know that episode of Friends where Phoebe is sick?
No.
And she sounds so much better when she's sick.
As a singer.
I mean, I'm not suggesting that you sound. I'm not suggesting that you sound better when you're sick, but you know,
the inflamed vocal cords. Although there is that matter of just not caring.
Mm-hmm.
That you know, just I don't care, whatever. Which does help to calm the nerves, right?
You get that awesome rasp.
That's right. That leads to vocal notes. So let's jump right into this. We like to ask our guests an awkward question to start out the show, which is fun. So if you can tell us 3 things about yourself that everyone should know, that would be awesome.
3 things. Oh man. Okay. Well, I'm a pretty nice guy. I'm a pretty contemplative person as well. I like to kind of mull things over and always think a lot and question things, and that's definitely a big part of my personality. And what else can I say? Yeah, I'm just like a pretty chill. Like I don't, take things too seriously. I'm very relaxed and like to go with the flow.
And you're a wonderful singer.
And musical, yes. I definitely love to sing and play a bunch of different instruments and engage in any sort of musical activity whenever possible.
I was going to add that you're very well dressed. I notice a lot of photos on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, always with the suits and the waistcoats and the suit and tie. I'm jealous because I can't really pull off a suit.
I'm sure you could if you just put one on.
You just cleaned yourself up once in a while.
Yeah, but I actually made an effort. Yeah,
it might be part of your thing too, though, right?
Is that part of the style of music that you're kind of, or is that just you like dressing up?
I like to dress up, especially when I perform.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like I certainly don't wake up and put on my tux, right? But I certainly
always get the feeling that like Ryan Gosling does. He wakes up, he's already in a tux, his hair is all done. He's like, "All right, let's face the day."
I know. I definitely follow David Beckham on Instagram.
Yeah, there's another example.
It makes me feel like pretty.
I feel like David Beckham is either wearing a suit or just wearing underwear. It's never really in between.
No, there's
kind
no
of one or the other.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's very much one extreme or the other. But yeah, no, I like the formality of it all, and especially when I'm doing a bigger show, like in a theater, let's say, and I have a horn section behind me, kind of like a mini big band. I like to dress the part as well, because I think that style of music, the way you dress reflects that kind of music, and
I agree.
Especially that old school Sinatra style, Dean Martin style, the Rat Pack, Sinatra at the Sands, all that kind of good old jazz. That's very much a part of the culture, and if I can kind of put my own twist on that, I'm happy to do it. So
absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So you studied in the Humber College Jazz program.
Yeah.
How beneficial do you think that the education you got there was for getting started in the music industry?
For me, it was especially important. I needed that educational base for sure. I got in, pretty much just having a voice and, some musical experience, but, the theory side of things and learning how to write charts and, more involved musical things like I learned at Humber. And more importantly, it was the networking that really was the most important thing. I met so many great people and I got started in a lot of bands that way. And that's kind of how I got recognized. I met people there, and that's how my manager found me, through a band that I started at Humber. So I didn't go through a program like that, who knows where I'd be,
Yeah, because I wonder, because like jazz is a bit more of a niche genre. Do you think it would have been more difficult to start a band had you not been studying in a program like that, where there are a lot of like-minded people in one place?
For sure. The other cool thing about it too is everyone is there, for a purpose. Like, everyone wants to get better. That's why they've entered this program, and they want to learn. So everyone kind of brings up the level, and I think had I not gone there, I probably would have been involved in some way, because I had like some rock bands and some acoustic bands that I was involved in, but none of those guys are pursuing music anymore, right? So when you're in an environment where, like you said, there's a bunch of like-minded people pursuing the same goal, it's very easy to, stay motivated and connect with them and start any sort of musical aspirations with them.
Sure.
Did you find it very competitive, or was it very, was there a camaraderie to it?
You know what? I didn't know what to expect. At first, I kind of, I anticipated that for sure. But, after a while, we're all in the same boat, and everyone kind of has their thing that they do really, really well. And surprisingly, we're all kind of not forced, but it's kind of mandatory to learn the jazz idiom, and the curriculum's kind of based around that. But there's there were a lot of interesting different artists, not just jazz artists, right? Like bluegrass artists and folk artists and Latin artists. So, everyone kind of recognized pretty early on that, each person has their thing that they do well, and you need to respect that. So whenever someone was in a bit of a, struggle performing a genre that they weren't totally comfortable in, you didn't criticize them or you didn't judge them so harshly, because everyone does their own thing very, very well, and
right.
keep that in mind.
So we often bring up the education versus experience debate on this show, and we've had some very interesting responses to it. Some people find value in both. Some people find value in one over the other. What's your take on that?
Well, I often thought, maybe it's best, in hindsight, maybe it would have been better to have just not gone to school and just totally dedicated myself to playing music and practicing on my own. But, I realized, for all the reasons I mentioned previously, there they go.
That's all right. It's all good.
For all the reasons I mentioned previously, that I personally needed to have that experience. I think other people, if they're driven and they have the discipline, it may not be totally necessary to go through some sort of like institution, but I think it depends. Really, it's personal. Like it depends on the person, right? Like if I can only speak for myself. For me, I needed it, but I think, it's not totally necessary.
I think style of music has a big impact on that too, and also where you want to go with it, and what your goals are. So I find value in both. And again, it's hard to, that's why it's a debate, right? I mean, we never come to an answer,
For sure.
But it's interesting to discuss.
Yeah, you're right. I think genre definitely plays a role.
Yes.
I think if you're like a classical musician or a jazz musician, then school is almost necessary.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know,
well, before the interview, Ross kind of pointed out how it can be a very, it can be a very, not just a well, the whole music industry itself is very cutthroat, but sometimes that sort of those genres can be a little bit exclusive, I guess, or elitist. However, what we like about your music is you have a bit of a pop flair to it, I guess, in your voice at least, if you would agree with me, Ross. And I find that it makes it a lot more accessible.
For sure.
Was that conscious or is that just natural?
It's a little bit of both. One thing that I knew I didn't want to be was a really heavy avant-garde out there artist who scats on the at every opportunity. For me, I listen to the greats, like I listened to Sinatra and Tony Bennett and guys that really knew how to carry a melody, and that's what the song was about. And I totally respect, bebop and scatting and trying to use your voice as an instrument. I think that's really, really cool. Bobby McFerrin and even Ella kind of, she's the one that kind of got it started, and I respect that totally, but that's not who I am. I like melody and I like singing the song and
for sure
and the tune. So
And you shared the stage with some. Sort of jump in there. You shared the stage with some really big Canadian artists.
Yeah.
Oh, the Gypsy Kings and Julie Black, for just to name two of them.
Yeah, for sure.
What did you learn from playing alongside them?
Well, I guess just they have their thing so down. Like it's just they're so commanding. Both those artists are so commanding when they're on the stage. They have such prowess. Like
Julie Black.
Julie Black is
her and
just
I are we're friends on Twitter. So
okay.
We've talked a few times. So she actually might be coming on the show. So but yeah, cool. she seems really down to earth.
She is.
Not to mention phenomenal.
Yeah, I think every artist has their ego, right? But great artists are modest and humble and know that there's other people out there that do other things just as well. So that's what I found with her, is that when she was on the stage, she owned it completely, vocally and performance-wise. But having a chance to talk to her very, very briefly, she was very, very nice and just cordial and
that's
and
the
respectful.
vibe I get from her.
Yeah,
that's the vibe I get for sure. So back to you. Tell us about your new album, Stay. That's it's due out later this year, I believe.
Yeah. Later this year. So Stay is a very personal project. The timing of it it happened at a really awful time, but also it got the artistic juices flowing. I went through a pretty tough time. I was in a long-term relationship, and it motivated me to write this album and get it started. So I always had an idea of for my first album that I wanted to include songs that a collection of tunes that were very personal to me and that I grew up listening to. So there's a lot of covers on the album, and a lot of those tunes were tunes that I just felt if I ever recorded an album, they need to be on it. So a lot of it is that, and then the other half of it, like the originals, came out of my heartbreak. So that's pretty much how I can define Stay.
Hey, I'm a true believer that the best art stems from pain. So
oh yeah,
there you
absolutely. Go. It's not all gloom. There's definitely brighter and happier moments for sure. But the ball got rolling through that personal experience.
Well, Ross
and
I both heard it. It's phenomenal. It's beautiful. Go
thank you.
People. It's,
we were listening to it. I particularly liked Stay.
Yes, me too.
And your cover of Everlong. As well.
You.
Really enjoyed
my
that.
favorite songs. I remember hearing that when I was a kid, and I was just like, "What is this song?"
Yeah, a couple of my friends got married, and Everlong was their first dance, but the acoustic version of Everlong, and it was really cool.
I think that's the best thing Dave Grohl's ever written, personally.
I think so too. Yeah, definitely.
The most honest and stripped down,
For sure. Actually, they're in town now, in Toronto.
Yeah.
They're playing Molson. I couldn't grab a ticket, unfortunately, but yeah, he broke his leg, and he's rocking this like throne with lights.
Yeah, he's pretty much a rock god at this point. He can be considered like a rock god or
totally.
the rock god right now.
Yeah,
I'm not even huge into Foo Fighters. I used to be when like The Color and the Shape came out that has Everlong on it, but I'm not even huge into the music or anything. But I love Dave Grohl just as a human. He's just such an awesome dude. Like I want to meet him just to hug him. You know what I mean? Just hug him and be like, thank you for being such a great dude. You know what I mean?
For sure. I agree with that totally. I think that's why he's done so well, because he's so real, you know. He's so honest, and he's done such cool things. Like he was a drummer for Nirvana, and then he decided, I'm gonna make my own band and sing and play guitar, and it's like, what? Really? And he did, and he, you know, they're kind of like the last. If you think about it, they're kind of like the last true like rock band.
Agreed.
You know, or at least they're the only ones that are successful still doing it, right? In the last 15 years or so.
Exactly.
20 years, yeah.
Yeah, wow, yeah. Now I feel old.
Yeah.
Me too. I've been feeling old a lot lately. People keep saying things, I'm like, I still think the 90s is 10 years ago.
So do I. I always think that. I still think it's 2004, 2005. Yeah. That hasn't changed my mind.
Yeah. Well, what's really trippy for me is like I teach on the side as well, right?
Oh, nice.
So I have some students, you know, vocal students and whatever, piano, guitar students, and you know, I'll have to remind myself like these guys are born like. Some of them were born in like 2005 or something like ridiculous.
It's so scary.
Like
it's so terrifying.
Like, yeah, that was 10 years ago, but I remember what I was doing in 2005 pretty much.
Well, I remember when I was younger, and you know, I went to I went to guitar lessons for like 3 lessons, and then I never went back because it just wasn't for me. I'm like, just do this myself. But I just remember references that he would say like, oh, you know, with this band, and I just didn't know what he was talking about because it was before my time. The point I'm getting to is I'm getting that now. Where I'm like, yeah, just like this band. Huh? What do you mean? I'm like, how do you not know this band?
Yeah.
And it's just from like 10 years ago. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, for sure, man.
Yeah, then I feel really old. Or it's the kids that are wrong. As Principal Skinner would say, it's the kids that are wrong.
The kids are wrong. Yeah, some kids don't know what a record is. Like,
I know.
Like a vinyl. They're like, what's that?
Crazy.
Unless they're a hipster, then they totally know.
Unless they're like 13-year-old hipsters, like
wearing a Nirvana shirt.
So, being a musician who works in a pretty niche sort of genre, how would you say that you are able to make that work for you? Is it easier because it's a bit of a niche genre, or is it more challenging?
Good question.
Yeah, it's a really good question. My God, I think it's a little bit of both. There's certainly, I don't want to say less pressure because it's not pop. Like, I don't know, for me, the most important thing was trying to make it as accessible as possible without totally selling out. And I guess everyone has a different definition of that, but I didn't want to like write these huge pop hooks with like really simple melodies and crazy synth, you know, things happening. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you know, to kind of stay true to it, there's a certain level of like jazz infusion in it, and there's a certain amount of, you know, pop in it. I think the way that I sing, as you were mentioning, and the form and the structure of the tunes and the length of them, you know, it doesn't really speak to like the hardcore jazz genre, and I think it's a little more of a balance, right? So
I was gonna say, yeah, there's a balance, and
and it's me. Yeah,
we don't just want to hear a dude singing; we want to know what you're about.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was important for me to kind of have that balance of pop and jazz and R&B and you know, throwing in those tunes like, you know, Everlong and you know, pop tunes like Young and Beautiful, and just arrange them to kind of fit my fit what I'm about. So
you mentioned selling out. Like everyone has a different definition of selling out. What is your definition of selling out?
Well, I think it. I don't want to offend anybody.
Oh, do it, man. This show's all about offending people.
This is what I'll say.
We haven't done enough of that today, Rob.
Yeah, I know. I think if you're doing something that isn't honest and isn't genuine musically, and you're just doing it for the sake of getting somewhere, getting fame, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. If you're making music for the wrong reasons, and the wrong reasons being not for the music, actually, I think that's selling out. So I don't really want to pinpoint any artist and say like, they did this and they've totally
I know artists that have done that.
Yeah,
I
think we can all think we all probably have at least 3 or 4 in our head.
In my mind, know personally that it's all about how can we craft this to sell and get where I want to go. But I'm glad you said that, because before I said it, I wanted to hear what you thought, and it's the exact same. I have the exact same definition. It's not about if you decided your next record, you really got into synth pop, and you decided your next record's going to have synth pop, you're going to have vocal, even though you said in an interview, like you were kind of joking about that, but that's you now. Who knows where you are 2-3 years from now, right? The point is, if that's what you want to make and you're being true to yourself, there's not a matter of selling out whatsoever. It comes down to whether or not you're doing something, like you said, for the pure purpose to sell, market, rather than being true to yourself and making art.
Yes.
It's business or art. That, for me at least, is where
for sure. And I can only imagine like the
same wavelengths, brother.
Yeah, definitely. I think of artists, like big artists, like Taylor Swift or like Justin Bieber, the biggest pop acts in the world. And I thought Taylor Swift's record was really awesome, right? She said it like it was her first pop record. I mean,
which one, the latest one?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's all been.
Says that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all
been a progression for a while.
For sure. Yeah. Like this is, I guess, the purest form of pop, right? But I still was digging it. But I think there's definitely a certain amount of pressure for those artists, like who knows, right? Like if the label's pushing them in that direction, or I think it's hard to kind of, to be just fair to artists, that are huge and artists that are just kind of starting out. It's hard to know your identity sometimes, because there's all these other factors that can kind of mold you and push you. And it's hard to kind of look inward and say, okay, is this actually what I want to be doing? And, you have to kind of ask yourself that question. So at this point, I'm very lucky, and I have the fortune to do pretty much whatever I want musically, because I don't really have anyone kind of pulling strings. But I imagine one day if I ever get faced with that, like I might give in to some.
Well, it's tough too, because like it's so easy to criticize, and trust me, I'm one of the first to criticize major acts and everything, and major labels and everything. But at the same time, it's like, I guess on their end, if they don't comply to a certain degree, they're out of a job or they're dropped. Although I guess I can't really see that happening with someone like Taylor Swift. At the same time, they could decide to go smaller and do exactly what they want to do, but maybe that's what they want to do. Maybe they're, we don't know what their main goals are,
Totally.
They love being able to play for millions of people on stage, and it's not so much about the art behind it, But who am I to say?
Yeah.
Hey, really?
I mean, like I said, I liked a lot of the tunes on her last record,
right.
And I like a lot of pop music. I'm kind of tired of hating, or people hating on it, right? Like I went through that.
Like what you like.
I went through that like elitist phase genres, too, right?
Yeah. We've all been there.
Yeah, man, and. I just figured like, no, this is a good tune. Like, there's no point in hating on it if it's well written. As long as it's not so formulated, you know, because I think
like Justin Bieber's Baby. That one.
Yeah,
you have to admit that's just.
Yeah. Okay. So there's some that it's just like clear as day, right? Yeah. Where it's like this is a formula, and you know, has to have this verse and have the hook has to happen there, and there's a drop here, you know, like you know what I mean? Yeah, there's definitely formulas to all this music, so it's refreshing to hear pop music that doesn't really have that aspect to it, you know.
Right.
It can be a big tune, but it doesn't necessarily have the verse, pre-chorus, chorus form.
Which of course works sometimes, you know. But
which of course, yeah, of course, some of the greatest tunes, right?
You know. So are you ready for 20 questions?
Yes. Sorry, went off a little bit there.
That's what we do on this show.
It happens all the time. Yeah. It's absolutely fine.
Okay, coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Meat or veggies?
Boy, I'm trying to get more veggies, but meat for now.
CD or vinyl?
I'm a CD guy.
Me too.
Smart or casual?
Casual.
Vaughan or Toronto?
Ooh.
Come on, Vaughan has Wonderland.
I have to say Toronto.
Twitter or Facebook?
Facebook.
Big band or 3-piece?
Man, these are hard. I'll go with big band.
TV or Netflix?
I'll just say Netflix.
Oh, this one's a tough one even for me. Michael Bublé or Harry Connick Jr.?
Man. You guys thought of that one.
You know what though? They this kind of ties in with what you said earlier. They have their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Michael Bublé, I think, maybe wins in the voice department, in my opinion, but Harry Connick Jr. wins in the writing and piano playing department and everything.
Yeah, and he arranges everything. He does everything himself, man.
Yeah, so I mean, how do you know?
Yeah, both? I mean, okay, this is what I'll say.
He's like, we're getting all flustered.
Bublé was great for me because I was digging this type of music when I was, you know, I don't know, like 14 years old, right? So like jazz music, right? Like I was listening to Sinatra when I was 13 and 14, nice. Like it's probably not common. So to have a young guy kind of come in and do it, like, that was really cool for me. So I definitely listened to a lot of him when I was younger and Harry Connick Jr. too, but I think because he was like the front guy with the mic and suit, and I was like, man, it's so cool.
Yeah.
So I'll if I have to pick one, like I'll say Bublé, but it's not like a. Don't
be offended, Harry Connick, okay?
Yeah, please, Harry, if you're listening.
He listens to our show all the time.
Oh, yeah, he loves
our
us.
number one guest.
We're like best friends.
Yeah, sweet. When he's not an idol, right?
Yeah.
Orange is the New Black or House of Cards?
Man, I have not watched either show.
Oh, okay. What's your favorite series then? Breaking Bad? Have you seen Breaking Bad?
I saw all of Breaking Bad. Okay. Yeah, Breaking Bad's awesome.
There you go.
Walking Dead, I watch.
Oh, okay.
I started watching the show Peaky Blinders.
Okay.
Is that any good? Because I keep seeing it pop up on the Netflix originals, but I've never watched it.
Yeah, my wife actually said someone else mentioned that to her to check out.
Good show. Yeah, it's pretty solid.
Ella Fitzgerald or Billie Holiday?
You have to go with Ella.
Now, this is actually a question Marcio wrote. I just wanted to say that before.
Switch it. I want to say it. Do the next one, Ross. I got to say this one.
Okay.
Okay. Frank Sinatra or Louis Armstrong?
It's Frank Sinatra.
Okay, so Taylor Swift or Taylor Not So Swift?
Taylor Swift.
Friends or Seinfeld?
That was copyright.
Ooh. Seinfeld. I like both shows though.
Michael Jackson or Michael Bolton?
Michael Jackson.
It's all you.
Yeah.
It's not
Sorry,
that
Bolton.
obvious. Michael Bolton rules, okay.
He's great. He's just not Michael Jackson.
It's so funny, like everyone says Michael Jackson, but then they do jump in to defend Michael Bolton. I think everyone's got a bit of a soft
Just a
spot
little
for the
bit.
Bolt.
For the power grab.
Everyone. Yeah,
I like
power
Michael
grab,
Bolton a
yeah.
lot. I think he made some cool. He did like those things with those SNL guys. I don't know if you guys saw those things.
No, I'll have to check it
He
out.
did like digital
I know what you're
short with
talking about.
Lonely
Yeah.
Island crew.
Oh, yeah.
With Andy Samberg and stuff, and it was really like hilarious.
Okay,
Got it.
twerk or work?
Twerk or work?
Be honest, Luke.
I enjoy dancing, so if like twerk is a form of dancing,
Sure.
yeah, I'll say twerk.
Are you going to incorporate that into your next
I think
performance?
so. I think
Yeah, totally.
assless chaps.
I'm gonna wear assless chaps.
And it's like no one knows until the end of the show and you turn around.
Well, I'm gonna come out like in like my regular suit tie and stuff, but like when I turn around,
That's what I mean, man. That's when the party happens. Seth Rogen or Seth MacFarlane? And I say Seth MacFarlane because you're familiar with his vocal work. A lot of people
yes,
aren't.
yeah,
phenomenal.
no, he's amazing. I just saw Ted 2 like 2 nights ago.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
Man, like I didn't like love the first one, but this one was awesome. Like it's
I heard
just
it plays out like a real version of Family Guy.
yeah. I mean,
Kind of.
it's classic Seth MacFarlane, right? But
Yeah.
like, there's such attention. Like it's so refreshing to see comedies like that because it has all his references and all that classic stuff that he does, but just like the musical arrangements and like the numbers and like there's just these little scenes where people like sing and
He's a talented guy, man. Obviously,
Yeah.
he's a
Yeah.
team,
Oh, yeah.
but
He is,
He's
yeah.
a talented guy, and a lot of people don't realize that.
and he
Talented.
yeah, and he can sing, and he's done some standard albums, and I think he did a Christmas album. It sounds dope. Like it sounds really good, like really awesome. So just because of this, my more
Yeah, I think we know the answer.
I'll say, but I love Seth Rogen's comedies too. Like all
of
his
course,
movies, like
of course.
that he's great. But I'll say Seth MacFarlane for now.
Well, hopefully this one's not too hard.
Yeah.
Whale or kale?
Whale or kale?
Yeah.
Like, okay. I like kale, but I like whales too. Is that what you
This is
mean
always
by
the
that?
we don't really know, but this is
We
always
don't
the most
know.
challenging question. Well, the second most challenging question.
Because one's a food. Like I don't eat whale. Like I don't think anyone does, or maybe people do.
Some
I don't
people
know.
actually eat whale.
I think they do in like
Up in
Northern Territories or
yes.
something.
Yeah. So kale.
I'll just say kale.
Good.
Because it's
Kale
healthy.
is part of my
Yes.
daily diet. It's so good
That's
for you.
good.
Eat your kale, kids. Bette Midler or the Riddler?
I like Batman, so the Riddler.
Nice.
And final question, and don't feel you owe us an explanation for this one.
Okay. Is it
Ross
between
or
you
Marcio?
guys?
It's
Okay. I
between
knew
us,
it.
yeah.
I knew it. I knew
Oh,
it.
he's the only one who ever guessed
I knew
that.
I know.
Luke, we are like all on the same wavelength. This is an important meeting here.
I think he's learned
people.
as much about us during 20 questions as we've learned about him,
I
and that's
think
how you knew that was going to be the question.
Yeah.
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 What can I say? I don't know, guys.
I hit you both by.
That would be the best ending of our show ever. I want someone to do that.
Actually, I'm just not really feeling a connection with either of you. I don't know. I'm very charmed by the Scottish accent.
I know. You can say Ross. His voice does it for me. That's the only reason why we have this show
Getting a bit
together.
personal there, Marcio. Don't share our secrets.
I did tweet out a photo today about like I'm in the bath. It wasn't of me. It was of like my like shower head and stuff. And it was a Snapchat, and I was just like, washing away the sick. And then when I posted on Twitter, I tagged Ross in it.
Mm-hmm. That's nice.
No, but the point I'm getting to is he retweeted it saying, "Just want to clarify, I am not currently in the bath with Marcio."
Oh my god.
Which I wanted people to think that. But so where can people find you online, man?
Any social media outlet. So Twitter.
LukeMaximMusic.com, right?
LukeMaximMusic.com is the website.
Twitter is
And
Luke_Maxim.
yep, you got it.
I got it. And what's your Facebook? I ask you only to tell you, right? And like, what's your links? Let me say them.
You want to just say it because
Facebook.com/Luke Maxim Music.
There you go. So
hey man, this has honestly been such a pleasure.
Yeah,
you're a great dude. Let me know when you're playing next. I'll come out, man. I'm not too far away from you.
For sure, yeah.
Show.
I'll definitely, It's been great, guys.
Thanks for watching Bridge the Atlantic. If you like what you saw, make sure to like, favorite, and most importantly, subscribe so that you don't miss each week's episode.
Click on the videos above us if you'd like to see more, and please feel free to leave us a comment letting us know what you think of the show.
Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and subscribe to us on iTunes so that you can listen to us on the go. Thanks again for being awesome, and we'll see you on next week's episode.